The moment you stopped looking back, everything changed. The ground under their feet began to crack, and they felt it long before they could name it. For years, you lived inside a world they built to keep you trapped. They made you feel tiny and insignificant. They convinced you that without them, you were absolutely nothing. They wanted you to believe they were the sun itself, and you were just a small, unnamed planet with no pull of your own, born to circle their ego forever. Day after day, they trained you to look at them for approval, for permission to breathe, for a sense of worth they never planned to give you. But then something quiet happened. Something inside their carefully built control cracked open. A thought landed in your mind. You realized you did not need them to exist. And the second that thought took root, the wall they built around you did not just break, it shattered. For the first time in this whole journey, you were not the one falling apart. They were. Sit with that for a moment. This is the truth they worked so hard to hide. They needed you hooked. That is the part they never showed you. They needed you addicted to their approval, addicted to the rare good days, addicted to the hope that one day they would finally see how much you loved them. They kept you confused on purpose because a confused person is easy to lead. They kept you small because a small person does not realize they have the strength to walk away. But the moment you found your own center, the moment you took back your own gravity, their whole world started collapsing from the inside. They did not just lose a partner, they lost the mirror that made them feel real. Without your eyes on them, they are forced to face the one thing they fear more than anything else, the emptiness inside their own soul. Before we go deeper into their secrets, if you are ready for the kind of clarity they never wanted you to have, hit that subscribe button right now. This community is not just a group of people. It is a powerhouse for everyone reclaiming their dignity and their life after surviving the unthinkable. Subscribe now, because what we are about to discuss next will change the way you see every single interaction you ever had with them. To truly understand why they are falling apart right now, you have to let go of one painful idea. You were never in a normal relationship. That is the hardest truth to swallow, but it is also the most freeing one. To a narcissist, you were never a human being with feelings, dreams, or needs. You were a function, you were a tool with one specific job. In their world, people are like household machines. You do not love your toaster. You just expect it to make toast. When it stops working, you do not grieve. You get angry, and you look for a new one. This was never love. It was never about your heart or your character. It was about supply. You were a source of emotional power they plugged into every single day to keep their fragile ego alive. They fed on your reactions. Your tears were not a sign of pain to them. Your tears were proof of their power. Your anger was not a problem to be solved. It was proof that they could still control your nervous system. Every desperate attempt you made to fix things, every long text you sent trying to make them understand, every night you cried yourself to sleep, it was all high-grade fuel to them. They need your emotional output the same way an addict needs a drug. Not because they love the drug, but because they cannot function without the high of knowing they can still affect you. Without your constant stream of validation, they feel hollow and unreal. Beneath the expensive clothes, the charming smile, and the cold cruelty lives a person terrified of their own reflection. Their whole identity is a fake construction, a movie set with nothing behind the storefronts. They built this false self over a deep old wound of shame that they are too scared to ever face. And that false self is hungry. It demands constant feeding, constant praise, constant proof that it is superior and in control. You were the one given the job of feeding that monster. Every time you begged for a crumb of affection, they felt like a god. You were not in a partnership. You were trapped in a feeding cycle, and you were the only thing on the menu. Now that you have taken yourself off the table, the narcissist is starving. That starvation is what drives the frantic, desperate behavior you are seeing now. The cycle did not break when you walked away. It broke the second you stopped caring. That is a freedom far deeper than going no contact or blocking a number. A narcissist is a master at reading the energy of your attachment. For years, they survived on the fact that even when you were furious with them, you were still thinking about them. They knew that if you were yelling, crying, or sending long paragraphs explaining your hurt, they still had a hook in your soul. To a narcissist, anger is just another form of closeness. It is high-powered fuel. When you are angry, you are still giving them your time, your focus, your emotional energy. It tells them they can still move you. It tells them they still matter. But the moment that fire went out, the moment you replaced the heat with a cold, quiet silence, everything changed forever. This shift happens when your silence stops being a protest and becomes a permanent state of being. It happens when you realize that explaining yourself to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you is a complete waste of your breath. You stopped responding, not because you were trying to win a game, but because you finally saw that the game was not worth playing. You stopped checking their social media to see who they were with, or whether they looked happy, not because you were forcing yourself to resist, but because you genuinely lost interest in the story they perform. You stopped replaying imaginary arguments in your head, the ones where you finally say the perfect thing to make them see what they lost. You stopped because you accepted that they are psychologically unable to ever see the truth. You stopped hoping for the old version of them to come back, because you finally saw that the old version was just a mask built to hunt you. When you reach this state of true indifference, you inflict the one thing a narcissist is not built to survive: invisibility. Their whole existence is built on being seen. They are like a stage actor who dies the moment the audience leaves the theater. They have no solid core of their own, so they depend on your attention to tell them they exist. When you stop caring, you turn off the lights and walk out of the room. To them, being ignored is far worse than being hated. If you hate them, they are still the villain in your story, and being the villain still makes them a main character. But when you do not care, they become a non-factor. They become a ghost. They become nothing. This invisibility creates a kind of terror inside them that most people cannot even imagine. It feels like falling into a void with nothing to grab onto. Without your reactions to bounce off, they are forced to feel the hollow, empty silence of their own inner world. And that is a place they will do anything to avoid. They are used to being the one who decides when the conversation ends. They are used to holding the remote control to your emotions. When you take that remote back and simply switch the TV off, they lose their sense of self. They realize they have zero power over you, and in their world, having no power is the same as death. You did not have to scream, get revenge, or even expose them. All you had to do was choose your own peace over their chaos. And in doing that, you became the one thing they can never conquer: someone who truly does not care what they think. The moment the narcissist senses that you are truly gone for good, a frantic and hidden process begins. Most people expect an explosion or a desperate phone call, but that is not how it starts. Instead, they become the silent watcher. They retreat into the shadows and start monitoring your life with an intensity that borders on obsession. They check your social media from fake accounts. They ask mutual friends about you. They hunt for any tiny piece of information about how you are doing. But they are not doing this because they miss you the way a normal person misses someone. They are doing this because they are desperately trying to decode the why behind your silence. Your absence has become a high-stakes puzzle they are furiously trying to solve. And every day you do not reach out, their ego takes another bruising hit. They will not reach out first because their pride is a fortress they refuse to let crumble. To a narcissist, showing need is the ultimate weakness. If they text you first, they feel like they lost the game. So they wait. They sit in the dark and watch your digital footprint, looking for one weak moment. They are searching for a sad song you shared, a vague post about loneliness, a photo that looks like you have been crying. They are looking for any thread they can pull to see if you are still attached. They need to see a sign that you are still suffering, because as long as you are suffering, they are still the center of your world. They are waiting for you to crack so they can swoop back in and take back their position of power without ever apologizing for the damage they caused. While they look calm on the outside, inside they are experiencing what psychologists call a narcissistic injury. Do not let the clinical name fool you. This is an internal earthquake. The narcissist lives by a script where they are the irresistible hero and everyone else is just a supporting character. In their story, People do not leave them. They decide when people get discarded. By walking away and staying away, you did not just end a relationship. You attacked the core story of their life. You proved they are replaceable. You proved they are not the sun. You rewrote the ending of their favorite movie without asking for permission. That is a defeat that haunts them in ways they can never admit. And this injury cannot be fixed by finding someone new. They might find a new supply within a week, but that person is only a bandage on a wound that is still bleeding. New attention feels good for a moment, but it does not erase the fact that you saw who they really were and chose to walk away. Your leaving is a permanent stain on their record of perfection. They feel a burning rage and a deep humiliation because deep down they know you are not coming back. This is not just about losing you. It is about losing the war of control they have been fighting since the day they met you. Every day you stay silent and keep growing, you are winning a battle they never even told you about. You became the living proof that their power is an illusion. And for a narcissist, there is no wound deeper than that. Once they realize that silence is not bringing you crawling back, they move into a phase of total historical rewriting. They begin to rewrite the entire history of your relationship, not just in their own mind, but in the ears of anyone who will listen. This is survival, plain and simple. Their ego is so fragile that it cannot process the reality that you, the person they spent years putting down, actually had the strength to choose to leave them. To accept that would be to admit they are not the prize they claim to be. So they flip the script. In this new version, they become the hero who finally had enough. They tell friends, family, and anyone on social media a careful lie, where you were the unstable one, the inadequate one, the one who could not keep up with their greatness. They need the world to believe that your leaving was actually their decision. Then comes a strange thing called acceleration. Suddenly their life becomes a non-stop highlight reel. If they were private before, now they post every single hour. Their social media becomes a stage for a spectacular show of happiness. They are not just okay. They are doing better than they have ever been. Or so they want you to think. You will see them at the best restaurants, traveling to new places, suddenly surrounded by friends you have never heard of. Most importantly, they will place new people in their photos. A new love interest. A soulmate who appeared out of thin air. They make sure the angles are just right so you can just barely see enough to feel a sting of jealousy. But you have to see through the smoke and mirrors. This whole production has an audience of exactly one person. You. They are not posting these pictures because they are genuinely happy. They are posting them because they are terrified that you might believe they are not happy. It is a desperate, frantic attempt to protect their image. They are testing the waters, waiting with held breath for you to like a photo, send an angry text, or ask about the new person. Any reaction from you, even a negative one, is a win for them. A reaction proves the cord is still live, that you are still watching, and that they can still make you feel something. They are fishing for proof that they still matter, using a fake life as bait. But when the performance fails to get a rise out of you, they switch to something far more dangerous. The hoovering trap, named after the vacuum cleaner, is a calculated attempt to suck you back into the toxic cycle. This is not the loud, arrogant version of the narcissist you are used to. This is the reformed version. Suddenly an apology arrives, so specific, so emotionally aware, so seemingly humble that it shakes the ground under you. They use the exact language of therapy. They admit faults they previously denied. They claim they have had a massive realization and finally see how much they hurt you. It feels like the miracle you prayed for during all those years. But you must understand the cold precision behind this move. They are not apologizing because they feel guilt. They are apologizing because they spent years studying your wounds, and they know exactly which buttons to press to open you back up. They know your soft spots because they are the ones who carved them out. The timing is never an accident. They wait until they feel your grip loosening, until they sense you are moving on, and then they strike with a message designed to reset your progress. The Hoover is a strategic lie told with the sincerity of a trained actor, designed to make you doubt your own memory and your own resolve. Here is the darkest truth of this phase. They do not want you back because they finally realized they love you. They want you back so they can be the one to leave you. Their ego is still burning from the fact that you walked away first, and they cannot let that be the final chapter. They need to pull you back into the feeding cycle just long enough to regain their position of superiority. They want to see you invested again, vulnerable again, and then, at the moment of their choosing, they will discard you with a coldness that makes the first time look gentle. Your return is not a reunion. It is a trophy. It is the final proof they need to tell themselves they are still in total control of your soul. Staying silent is not just about avoiding drama. It is about refusing to let them rewrite the ending of your story. And while the narcissist performs for the world all day, something else happens in the dead of night.